Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee as we take a look at what's going on today. We've had that first round of precipitation move through the Northeast, and the NAM model, which has had a hot hand now for the last 2 weeks, continues to outperform. So we're going to kind of stay with it as we have. It's also the first model run that comes in during the day. So we have most of it now, and we'll see what the other models have to say later on today. Also, the HRRR didn't do too bad either this morning for this morning in the short range. But this is all done now, and we're going to just spend a little quiet time as this low moves up to the northeast. It's a little trough here, and we've got high pressure that builds in. But we've already see a low developing in the Gulf states. And by the way, you can pick out the warm front very well on this map. If you just look at the temperatures here, you can see it shows up, and I'm going to draw it in for you because apparently they haven't. But you see where the temperatures across the Gulf states are in the middle and upper 70s, and then you just go inland and temperatures are in the 50s and even the 40s. So there's your warm front. It's kind of snakes up like this, and this is going to be very important because of what is going to be happening here with this low as it moves northeastward into the Ohio Valley. This is going to be a setup where you're going to have a primary low that's going to move up toward the Ohio Valley and weaken. And as that low moves up, you're going to see these isobars stretch out near the coast, and a new low is probably going to form somewhere along the Carolinas and then move northeastward from there. So that's going to be critical in what happens during the day on Tuesday across the Northeast and down into New Jersey, northeastern Pennsylvania, toward New York City, Long Island, and southern New England and the Hudson Valley. Now, we'll show you what's playing up on the radar, and you can see that second area is blossoming quite well across the Gulf states from eastern Texas, all of Louisiana into Mississippi, loaded with rain. And this is going to be another good rainfall, by the way, for the southeastern part of the United States and in the fire-stricken areas. So this is more good news from that respect. So I'm going to show you here what happens, and here, there's that first system on the NAM that moves out, and here we have the second low that's moving northeastward into the Ohio Valley, and this is for tomorrow morning 7 a.m. and what's happening is at this point is that it's a little hard to see, but here's the main low center, which is back through here. You actually have a snaking warm front that's kind of like this, okay, and it's right in here in this area right here where the isobars are really stretched out, that you have another low that is developing. In the meantime, you have high pressure that's up in the northeast. So there's actually some chilly air. It's not very cold air. It's marginally cold air, but it's a problematic situation because with even marginally cold air, as it gets involved in all this, you could see something silly happen later tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night in this area, because what happens is the primary low disappears and the secondary low takes over. And this is for tomorrow evening. And I'm going to get a little tighter because I think that really shows it a bit better here. Let's go to the tight northeast map and you'll see what happens as we move in. So that secondary low takes over, and as a result, you wind up getting cold air draining southward into the circulation of the secondary low. So the result is that suddenly you've got a blossom area of rain that changes over to snow, and even the NAM model generates some heavier snows in the darker blues. I don't think that's out of the question. And if we look at one of the other levels aloft, I'm going to swing up to the 5,000 foot level or the 850 millibar level, and what happens is it actually gets, after the initial, that layer of the atmosphere is pretty warm, but what happens is as that coastal low develops, you get a bit of a low that develops up at that 5,000 foot level. The atmosphere cools, so right in there, you've got a pocket of colder temperatures. It's all below freezing here at that level. we look into that level where the 0 line is to try to figure out where the rain snow line might be. It's usually in the air that's a little bit colder than 0, but the 0 line goes all the way down to Cape May. So you have every bit of -3, -4 Celsius at the 850 level here. If you get precipitation with decent enough intensity, that could be in the form of heavy wet snow, and that's what the model is suggesting as that low develops. And then, of course, as we move through time, you can start to see that there's colder air coming in, even colder air that's going to come in as we move into Thursday. And there may be one more wave of moisture to deal with as that cold air arrives. So that's going to be something to consider. I'll leave you with the snowfall map here, and we'll show you what the NAM is doing for later Tuesday night, and it's mostly for inland areas, but I want to be a little careful because sometimes in these situations the cold air does wind up draining a little further south than modeled, and it would the NAM itself is indicating the possibility of a few inches up in the northwestern counties of New Jersey and into the Hudson Valley. And actually, if you go north of Route 84, the model generates some 6-7 inch amounts here, and much of that is from the second wave of moisture. It was only about an inch or two in some areas this morning up in that part of the Hudson Valley. So we're going to leave it at that with regards to what's happening. I'll give you a quick view of what's going on across the country, and we'll widen out if it lets me. There we go. And again, this will be the NAM model, so and this is the new NAM from today, so it doesn't go out. I'm only out now to Wednesday evening. So I'll just roll it back so you can get a flavor of what's going on elsewhere in the country. And there is some snows up in North Dakota and through Minnesota there, and also another system that comes into the Pacific Northwest. There's your system in the east. That goes out, and there's a front here with the colder air that's coming down out of Canada. I don't really want to call it Arctic air. I'll call it polar air. And there's probably going to be one more wave of moisture to deal with when that polar front moves on through. This would be for Thursday, so I wouldn't be surprised to see another rain changing to snow for coastal areas of the Northeast and also for the inland areas as well. And I'll give you last night's GFS run to end it all for today, just to give you an idea of where we're going for the long range. This is very cold air that comes into the east beginning on Thursday, and you can see model doesn't do too much with that last wave, at least this one doesn't. So it stays cold, and then we have a series of weather fronts that go by early next week. You know, the model wants to keep everything progressive, moving everything from west to east and taking things to our north, but it also continues to bring down cold air masses through the period. I again want to emphasize that, you know, when we look at this stuff in the long range, you really have to be very careful. Every run is different. And I would tell you snow lovers out there that much like this little thing that happened this morning wasn't seen by models to the last minute, and what may happen tomorrow, the NAM models picked up on it for a while, but other models may not pick up on it to the last minute, that you're going to see hints of things in the long range, but if you're going to watch every model run, try to figure, thinking it's gospel, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. So just bear that in mind, okay? Just because a model run doesn't show something doesn't mean that it can't happen. And the reverse is true. If it shows it, it's more than likely not going to happen. So if you approach it from that, I think you'll stay more sane. All right, so everybody have a great day, and check out the latest web posts, meteorologistjoechaffe.com, including the snowfall forecast maps that I'll have up there. I'll put the latest ones up there later today. Also, download my app and subscribe to my forecasts, and that's just 99 cents a month. It's a cheap price. You get ad-free experience, and you get local forecasts for what your zone. If you're in New York City, Long Island, Northern New Jersey, Hudson Valley, that's one zone. There's a separate zone for Connecticut and a separate zone for Central and Southern New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania. So the links will come up here right at the end of the video. You can click on those if you're interested. It's just $1 a month. And of course, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's free. And I really, really am enjoying all the wonderful conversation. I have to tell you, it's been quite the thrill, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.